Hello everyone and welcome. We're at the driving test centre in Shrewsbury and you look scared to death, Hayley. Anyway, Hayley's going on a driving test and she's very kindly going to show us how she got on. So we're going to be following Hayley round. So when you go on your driving test, I hope these videos do help you at some point during your driving career. But what will happen is when you go into the test centre, you'll be greeted by your examiner and they will then invite you just up to verify your identity. So you will need your driving licence with you, and then what they'll do then is that they'll just have a look at your driving licence, ask you to sign on the iPad that they've got. They will just check your identity to make sure that you say who you are. And then they'll ask you if anyone is joining you on your driving test, and then they'll ask you to lead the way outside to your car. You must supply a car for your driving test. You'd be surprised how many people actually turn up for a driving test and haven't got a car to take the test in. So as soon as you are just outside, they'll just ask you which car you're taking the test in. Then they'll ask you to read a number plate. So as soon as you've done that, they'll go straight into the questions that they need to ask you at the beginning of the test. So the first one will be a tell me. For example, could you tell me how you would check if your brake lights were working? Or could you tell me how you would check if your tyres were safe and legal to use on the road? So you need to go through those show me, tell me questions. This ensures that your driving test gets off to a lovely start and you don't want to be there fumbling and not knowing what's happening. So as soon as you've asked one of those questions, what they'll do is that they'll ask you if they would like you to explain a little bit about the driving test. The driving test will last between 38 and 40 minutes. They may ask you to do an emergency stop. They'll ask you to perform one manoeuvre, and they will be asking you either to follow a sat-nav or to follow direction signs, where you've got to read them off the road signs that are on the road. So normally it's a lot of the sat-nav stuff that they do, and that tends to last for about 20 minutes. As soon as the 20 minutes is up, then the examiner will give you normal directions from then on. The driving test is one of those moments in your life whereby it's so important, it's unbelievable. It really is. It opens up doors. It really does. It opens up avenues of opportunity for your social life and for your employment as well. So I do believe that it is one of the most important milestones in your life, is passing that all-important driving test. And of course, the thing being is, we wouldn't be normal if we weren't a little bit nervous when we go on these things. Everyone has been on a driving test. The examiner, myself, everyone. We've had to go on a test of some sort at some point, so we do know what it's like. What you've got to do is just simply remember your training, remember what it is that you've been taught, and then putting it into practice. Okay, so we're up and away. So Hayley's driving along there. Oh, the sun's there blinding us. So a bit low in the sky. This is an early morning test. So the thing was, of course, is that the sun was only just coming up then. So we're coming up to the first roundabout, and then we're going to be turning off. So the thing to remember is always go over this mirrors signal manoeuvre routine. Always remember that. As you're approaching the roundabout, make sure you don't approach it too hard. Break in plenty of time. It gives yourself time to work out and observe what's going on the roundabout. If you simply go far too fast up to the roundabout, what you're doing is that you'll be actually standing on the brakes to get the car frantically to stop. And it might even be that the roundabout, in actual fact, is clear. So you don't want to be doing that. So we're going to be turning right at the roundabout. So Hayley's gone into the right-hand lane. And now she's going to be checking that all-important left-hand door mirror. Most important, check that left-hand door mirror, then indicate left. And then as we start to pick the speed up, then of course in checking that interior mirror and your right hand door mirror before you speed up. What you're looking for is, who's at the back, who's breathing down your neck. You never know, there might be an emergency vehicle at the back. You don't know what's there, but it's just a matter of just checking it. Okay, so the wipers have just gone there. So that could have been, could you show me how you would wash the front windscreen? No, that could be that one. So that would be a question that you could get. Could you show me please how you would wash the rear window, or could you show me how you'd wash the front window? Could you show me how you would wind the window down or blow a horn or something like that? So as I said, make sure that you do understand where all this lot is on your car before you take your test. Right, well, we're well underway. The speed limit down this road is a national one. So what you've got to do is make sure that you get your speed up to a reasonable pace, and don't follow the vehicle too closely either. The problem is with it is that most of the accidents occur where people are following far too fast and far too close. So always keep your distance and keep an all-important lookout for those brake lights that are going on. You might need to be able to deal with that sooner than what you may think. So Hayley's keeping a nice distance away, and we're slowing right the way down to virtually nothing now. So we're coming up to the first roundabout. So selecting the lower gears, it could even be first here. It probably is first gear because we're going that slow. So of course bringing the clutch up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, so the car moves forwards nice and slowly and under control. Again, notice we're not right up to the back of that van that's in front of you. We're not breathing right down its neck. That's the thing, and that's a good strategy to have. And also, it puts your passengers at ease. I mean, when you're out driving, you don't want your passengers, gripping on for dear life. You need to instill that confidence so that when you're taking people out for a drive in your car, that they feel relaxed and they're in the knowledge that you are in control of that vehicle. This is a particularly busy roundabout, this one is. The other thing is as well is that because of the vegetation that's actually on top of the roundabout, it makes it quite difficult to see what's coming on the other side of it as well. So as soon as you see a nice decent opportunity, and then of course then away you go. Don't be tempted to try to beat anybody. If it's not clear, don't go. I mean, there's probably an occasion whereby we could have gone earlier, but it doesn't really matter. The main thing is safety is the important thing. So going up to the next roundabout ahead of us. So we'll be going straight ahead. Again, bringing the speed down. And this is important, stay in lane. Don't try and cut the roundabout up. Make sure that you actually follow the profile of the roundabout around. Don't be tempted, whatever, to try to cut it up. It is not a good idea. And the other thing is, of course, is always remembering the mirrors. The examiner will be paying particularly close attention whether or not that you are paying attention to what's happening around you. Another roundabout coming up. Sometimes at that particular place there, they can turn you left, and that's where you can do the reverse bay park. You could go into there. All down here it is a 30 mile an hour speed limit. Okay, so what you will get on your driving test, you will be asked to stop on the left hand side quite a few times throughout the test. You will get that. As all the examiner will say to you is, would you pull up stop on the left hand side somewhere that's safe and convenient. As soon as you've stopped, and then they'll just ask you to move off whenever you're ready to do so. What they're looking for is, of course, the response to the mirrors. So it's mirrors first of all before you do anything. So mirrors, always remember again, mirrors, signal, manoeuvre. And that's what they'll be looking for. Now, as soon as you've stopped, do remember to cancel that left-hand indicator. The amount of times that indicator has been left on is unbelievable. And then the examiner will ask you then to move away. But don't forget this, you are not being instructed, you are being examined. So they're not going to tell you to knock the indicator off. That's up to you, you have to do that yourself. So make sure that you have cancelled that signal. Make sure that you're checking your mirrors and looking over your right shoulder before you move away. And that's what you've got to do there. No matter where you take your driving test, anywhere in the country, it doesn't matter whether it's here, whether it's in Chester, Crewe, it doesn't make any difference. You can be anywhere in the country, but you'll always have roads like that we're on right now. You wouldn't need to go to that particular place to practice it. It's very portable. If you can drive safely and under control, then you'll pass your test pretty much anywhere. The only thing I would say is about it is some parts of a test route. For example, in Shrewsbury, you could have like the M Street roundabout, which you would probably need to go over a few times just to be familiar with it. And that would be a good idea. It's the same thing if you're taking a test in Wrexham. You may need to just go and have a look at some of the more complex roundabouts, whereby there are more lanes on it, and you need to be probably familiar with whereabouts that you're going before you do it. So that's always a good thing to do. But as I say, you could be taking your driving test pretty much anywhere, and it's exactly the same thing. There's no difference no matter where you take it. There's your stationary vehicle in front of you. First thing is mirrors. Your interior mirror and of course your door mirror. That's what they'll be looking for, is that. Then the mirrors again before you come back on your side. Okay, so what's happened here is the examiner's asked Hayley to pull up and stop on the right hand side of the road. So this will be the reverse back 2 car lengths exercise. This is a manoeuvre. So what the examiner will say to Hayley now is, would you now like to reverse your car back for about 2 car lengths, keeping reasonably close to the curb? So my advice to you is, when you pull up and stop on the right hand side, you know what's coming next. That is a reverse exercise. So you need to get the car straight. That's the important thing. So that then you might need to continue, say, for about another car and a half, 2 car lengths, to get the car straightened up, so that you've got your wheels straight, so that when you engage reverse gear, your car will go backwards straight. Now the important thing to remember is with this exercise is look in the direction of travel. Now that means looking through that rear window. You've got to be actually turning your head right. I'm not talking about the mirrors, I'm talking about looking literally through that back window and taking effective observation there. Now you're using the control on the clutch, making the car go backwards nice and slowly, and then paying attention to what's at the back of you and pay attention to what's at the front. And if there's anything coming at all, you must stop. Don't try and just keep going. And don't forget, of course, that right-hand door mirror as well, just in case anyone steps off the pavement. You wouldn't know about it. That's the problem. That's the problem with it. When cars park on the junction like that little red one there, it does make it quite difficult to navigate. That's one of the problems with parking right next to a junction, because when Hayley comes out now, it makes it a bit tighter for her to get out. And also, if you were turning left, is that most people, they tend to look right and then go out. That would fail you, I'm afraid. So what you've got to be able to do is make sure you're looking both ways before you emerge. So turning left. So what you've got to be doing here is just making sure that you're following the profile of the road. So when you're turning left, what you've got to do is follow the shape of the curb around. Don't just go straight then turn. What you're going to do is slow down and actually steer it and follow the shape of the road round. And then get right to the very edge of the road. And then when you're clear, then move off whenever you can. Again, it's not a race. No one's telling you that you've got a few seconds to get out of there. You can only go when it's safe to do so. And then as soon as you've moved off and you're driving down the road, don't forget to check your interior mirrors and your outside door mirrors again. So again, we're still in a 30 mph speed limit. There's some hatch markings here now. Let's see the markings on your left, just there now. What that is, that's for parking, when people can park there. It doesn't mean that you can't go in it. You can drive in that. That is not a problem. And then we're going straight ahead at the traffic lights here. So use the left-hand lane for that. If you are in the right-hand lane, for whatever reason, if you ever get stuck, I mean, these things can happen. If you're ever in a position whereby you're in that right-hand lane, just turn right onto the car park, turn around and come back out. That's all you need to do. Don't attempt to try to go straight ahead from the right-hand lane. That's one thing you do have to be careful of, I'm afraid. So to be careful of that. Coming up to the next roundabout, we're probably, where are we going here? I think we're going straight ahead here, and it's the third exit towards the town centre. So you would have to use the right-hand lane for this one. Now, one thing that you have to take into account on this particular roundabout, on the other side of it, there is a box junction, I'm afraid. So indicating right and going round, that's your first exit. This is your second exit. Now that all important left-hand door mirror check. And there's your box junction there, see it? Okay, and then making sure that you've checked that left-hand door mirror before you come off. That's the thing to remember. You've got to stay in lane. So we're going straight ahead. You see the traffic is not dense by any stretch of the imagination. It's not, you're not in loads of traffic. There's not lots of things happening. There are things that are on the road which could potentially cause you problems, and it's being able to deal with that at any one moment in time. It's for example, if someone might be backing out, something like that, you can never tell. We're going straight ahead at this roundabout. Off you go again. Another roundabout coming up very shortly. See how the vehicle's parked there, that white van. It's having the ability to be able to deal with it if something was coming the other way. So if you could imagine there was a lorry coming at you the other way, then you would have to be able to deal with it. And that's what the driving test is all about. Can you deal with things? Can you deal with it? Okay, so pull up, stop it again. Mirrors, signal, manoeuvre. Always remember that. In a situation like this is where the examiner may be explaining about the emergency stop. Explaining that what they'll do is very shortly they'll ask you to stop the car as an emergency, as if a small child has stepped off the pavement right to the path of your car. What they'll do is they'll shout the word stop whilst raising the hand up and shout stop. And they will check at the back to make sure that it's safe. So they're not just going to just do it randomly. They will make sure it's safe. So Hayley's done that. The thing to remember is before you move away, make sure that you're checking over both shoulders before you move away. That's the trouble there. After the emergency stop, I always find there's it's what I always call shock, when your car stopped violently, and then the examiner will just say, thank you, I shan't ask you to perform that manoeuvre again. You may drive off whenever you're ready. Don't just panic. What you've got to do, secure your car first of all, and making sure that you're checking around you before you move. Don't just move off. Make sure that you're checking over your shoulders, your left one and your right one, then you can move away when it's clear. Now let's say, for example, something's coming up behind you. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you is just indicate left and pull up and stop on the left hand side. Let the vehicle at the back go past you. And then when it's clear, when you feel ready and composed, then you can move off. So have a look at the sign down at the bottom here and see what it says. That's it. It says stop. Is Hayley going to stop? Yes, she has. That's fine. So then you can creep forwards again. But the important thing is to actually come to a physical stop. You can put your handbrake on. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to. The important thing is that you go straight to the end of the road there and stop. That's the important bit, that the car comes to a complete standstill. It doesn't want to just keep rolling like you would give way. You have got to come to a complete standstill. If, say, for example, that the road that you're joining is busy and there's a lot of traffic there, and you've got to wait there for a few minutes, then yes, you do need to apply your handbrake. You don't need to apply your handbrake if you're pausing, but if that pause is turned into a wait, then you do need to apply your handbrake. We'll be turning left, no doubt, like the lights here probably. This is where they've altered the road a little bit, where they've made some adjustments to the road anyway. So what we'll be doing is here, we'll be turning right and then probably be turning right again. So turn right, stay in the right hand lane, and then turn right again. Okay, now they've altered the priorities here, so you'll be following the road. Well, it's turn left actually, so indicate left because you're going over that white line. It's there, see it? So the thing to remember is indicate left because you are turning off. Mirrors again before you start to move away from these stationary vehicles. And then just staying out. There's no point going right the way back in again, just stay out. There's another set of traffic lights just ahead of you anyway. So the lights are on red. So again, if you can, one of the big secrets is to be able to slide into first gear just before it stops. So that then, if the lights should change on you at any one moment, then you can actually pull away. Hayley's done that perfectly. There was no rollback, there was no jolt, no jerk. The car moved away smoothly and under control. And that gives the examiner an awful lot of confidence that, you know, that candidate knows what they're doing and what they're up to. Slow it down here, the visibility to your right is not that good, so you need to have a look over there. Not many vehicles parked up here, they've probably all gone to work actually. Right, no, sometimes down here, you know, the cars parked here, there and everywhere, but a lot of them now I notice, they're not parking actually on the road, they're off on the pavement as well. So here's another stop for you. And then you move off whenever you're ready, that's all there is. Again, making sure you checked over your shoulder and where you go. Don't forget cancel that indicator if you've used it. One of the things you've always got to try to remember, you can never tell what's around that next corner. It's always trying to anticipate what you may find around there. It's, for example, going around a corner like this, as it happens, there's nothing there, but there could have been, and that's what you're being tested on, is being able to deal with situations as and when they may occur, and you've got to be able to deal with it safely as well. This is sometimes on a driving test, which sometimes, if there's nothing there to challenge you, if there's nothing there, then of course you'll pass. But what happens if there are a number of things that come to challenge you, like, you know, someone backing out or cars being parked on a bend, for example, where you get delivery vehicles that are just parked up and dropping stuff off, and they'll be there for some time. You've got to be able to manoeuvre past it as well. That's some of the issues that you do have to be careful with. So the speed limit now alters, it goes from a 30 into a 40. So you can just pick the speed up just a little bit, so that you're just away you go with it. So the driving test is virtually over, to tell you the truth. That is it. We're on our way back now towards the driving test centre, where then the examiner will give Hayley the result of the test. Now this is where Hayley makes a mistake. She dealt with it, but the thing being is that it's something that you could do. So what will happen is the examiner will be asking her to turn right at the roundabout, and it's the third exit to follow all routes. The problem is, just before the roundabout there is a turn right lane to turn down a little lane just before the roundabout, and you'll be able to see exactly what Hayley does in a minute. It's not just Hayley, I mean it's happened numerous times. So the instruction will be given at the roundabout, turn right, and it is the third exit. So I'm afraid that what's happened is here now is Hayley's just thought, right, I've got to use in the right hand lane. So into the right hand lane we go like that, but that lane now is to turn right to go down that road there. We've got the hatch markings there. Right, the only advice I can give you, if this happens to you, just turn right. That's all you need to do. Just turn right. I don't know if you just noticed, but you see the van in front, the ambulance in front, or open reach van. What he's doing there, he was just flashing his light saying, come on, you can go. So what Hayley's doing now, she's checking over her shoulder, making sure that it's clear, and then when it's clear, then away you go. The worst, to fail, just simply swerve left. That's all you got to do. Anyway, that's the end of the test. It's just back towards the test centre. For some reason, in a moment, the video will come to the end, but the test centre is only just around this next roundabout now anyway. But thanks very much for watching, and I hope that's helped you at some point in the future. And all the best, and thanks for watching. How's it go?
Amazing. I freaked out at one bit though, really did, because I went into like the wrong bit, but I moved off safely. So that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yes. Finally.
Great.
Time.
It'll do, won't it?
Yes. It will.
Have you got any advice for anyone?
Have a banana before you test, I don't know, just keep practicing going out and everything. That's what I did. Kept going out every day.
That's good advice.
Yes.